Kia ora tātou katoa. Te arawa waka, te arawa tangata, koutou I whakatau mai a mātou I te rangi nei tēnā koutou. Koutou ko tai no ngā haue whā, tēnā koutou, kia ora tātou katoa. Pūtawa ki tōku maunga, rangi tai ki tōku awa. I tipu ake ai au, kei tērā taho ngā hiwi kei te teko, ana ko ngā tiawa tōku iwi. E ai hoki he mokopuna au no ngā tipiki au no Te Aupauri. Tēnā koutou, kia ora tātou katoa. Look, kia ora everyone. I didn't expect to be here too long. I thought I was going to be the facilitator, which was pretty cool in the program I saw, because the only instructions I had was to be funnier than the facilitators in the afternoon. So I thought, sweet ass. There's Harry Burkhardt in front of me, I had Harry. Hilton after me, I definitely had Hilton. I saw Melody Robinson on the program, and I thought, well, nothing wrong coming second. Silver's all good. But look, I'm just here to talk about some of the experiences, some of the stuff I've done. It's quite funny to see so many Māori in Rotorua today, on Friday. I've never heard of so many trusts having meetings here in Rotorua on Friday, so obviously there's something happening tomorrow. I heard there is a big rugby game, and it's Te Teko versus Kahukura. So if you're here at 1:30 tomorrow, or if you want a game for Te Teko, come in and see me later. I've seen the Blair boys, I see Anthony Ruakiri looking fit, so no mai haramai. Apparently there's another game happening too tomorrow night. I had the privilege of, I flew up with Paul Quinn this morning. So Paul Quinn, ex-Māori All Black captain. I was a bit worried when he said, oh, shall we share a ride? And I thought, oh yeah, shit. Paul's from the amateur era. So I think if we end up hopping in a taxi, I'll have to pay. But then I forgot he's the chairman of Ngāti Awa. So we ended up getting a rental. So tēnā koe pō. So look, I'm going to talk about some of the experiences I've had. So in line with our fantastic speakers talking about whanau ora and some of the real exciting initiatives. I'm not a tech person. I'm probably the most tech person you could think of. I like to do stuff with people and do stuff on land and hopefully try and find a way to make them come together. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the cool things we've done on the other side of the hills over in Te Teko and Kauro, because that's where I'm from. So my world sort of spins around a little place called Te Teko. So you'll see here, this is a pretty cool bare piece of land underneath our koro, Pūtawaki. Pūtawaki used to be an old lands and survey farm that they used to run horses on and do stuff on in Kauro back in the day. We got it back in the early 1980s as one of the original trusts, and we've been able to do some pretty exciting things on it. So it's quite small, 1,200 hectares in total, but I think it's probably one of the most diverse land blocks in the whole country. So we've got half of it in forestry, we've got pine forests, we've got some exciting manuka developments that we put in there a couple of years ago that are ready to go. A couple of years ago we found something popping up out of the ground. It looked like steam. So we've got geothermal now underneath. There feeds a power plant across the road. We've got infrastructure, so hearing some of the real cool discussions before us. So we own a little bit of road, not too long. It's about 1.6 k's. And it's called Farm Road. And everyone knows, or if you're from Kauro, you'll know a road called $1 Million Road called McKee Road. That comes through the forest, comes through Murupara from Rere Whakaitu all the way to Kauro. You can't get to the end of Kauro unless you come over our little 1.6 k's of road. So all the CNI trees that's coming from up the valley, all the big trucks that are going through Fonterra have to come across the road, and we clip that ticket. So we've got infrastructure investments. We've got a rail line, so not a real big long rail line, but we've got a little rail line, and what that does, that connects us up to the port of Tauranga. So that's part of a bigger program we have to try and get more enterprise back to Kaurau, because we're really committed to doing our best for the wider community. And I think if there's any place, in the country that needs a bit of assistance, it's Kaurau. And it's got some amazing things going for it. It's got fantastic people, it's got a great council, and it's got a strong need. So we've got a little rail ahead, and we've got some pretty exciting developments in the pipeline, which we're hoping to see eventuate over the next couple of years. So we went to China last year. We're looking to partner up and build a big processing plant. It's going to be pretty big, but more importantly, it's got 120 jobs. And so when you think about that in a whanau order context, you think 120 jobs, what does that mean in terms of households? What might that mean in terms of learning and supporting our kids in the local Bay of Plenty area? This is one of the other things we did. We turned some bare ground because we found water too. So we've got pretty good water on our lands. We've got geothermal underneath, we've got water, we've got forestry, we've got manuka, we've got infrastructure with roading and rail. We thought we'd have a try at being dairy farmers because everyone seems to be getting into dairy farms. So we built a shed. We called it Tiaki because we're not that original. But the next part of the plan, and I've got to be careful because I see Dave McLeod there, is looking at do we have the potential and the opportunity to build a geothermal milk plant. And sort of that's the next stage for us. So we always remember where we've come from. We came from a beef farm, which in a good year we're lucky to get about $200 a hectare. We've utilised it now, so we've got dairy, now we've got light industrial, we've got geothermal. So, there's a few more zeros coming in than what we used to have. That's Putawaki, that's a whanau and hapu development that's happening. In another role I had, I used to like doing stuff with land, and kiwi fruit is the cool thing that I'm into now. So this is a photo of some of my relations' land blocks. There's a kiwi fruit orchard in there somewhere. It might be a bit hard to pick up, but there's a kiwi fruit orchard in there somewhere. And this is what it looked like a couple of months ago. Kiwi fruit's important to us for a whole range of reasons. And there's some real key people and pioneers in the kiwi fruit industry here. The likes of my Tūkairangi, Asi Ratahi Cross, and Eddie Ellis here, Ngāria, there's people from Zespri here, Ari here. In the eastern Bay, in the wider Bay of Plenty, kiwi fruit is really starting to take off. And it's a massive opportunity because we talk about how do we utilise our land, how do we create jobs, how do we become more immersed in the value chain. Kiwi fruit provides a really cool opportunity to do that. So here's some pictures. I was a bit worried everyone else had flash pictures, so I had to try and find a video. I'll play it, it's only a minute and a half, but just remember, whanau, when you're in front of a camera, cameras do deceptive things. So sometimes it makes it look like you've got 2 or 3 chins. It's not always true, it's probably a bit of camera magic. So just sort of keep that in mind on this one. You might recognise the other fella. The Māori Kiwi Fruit Growers Forum hopes to achieve a number of things. One, around representation and leadership, advocating on behalf of Māori Kiwi Fruit growers, but advocating on behalf in the sense that what's good for Māori kiwi fruit growers is great for the industry.
So the coming together of all of the growers is, I think, is a major achievement. Firstly, because it allows them to have a direct voice towards the Zespri board, because one of the big calls has been about having representation at the board level. From that, build on the roles that they can play in terms of advocacy, in terms of direct contact with people like me and the board members of Zespri.
Zespri is hugely excited about reaching this milestone. What this is about is Māori taking responsibility and leading the development of a really strong Māori ecosystem here in the New Zealand kiwi fruit industry. That's hugely exciting for Māori, but also exciting for the rest of the industry.
Probably the key thing is to make sure that we've got wide perspective on the types of policy that we're setting. Helps us understand the different ways that growers interact with their orchards, the way that Māori trusts are involved. If we've got that linkage, it makes sure that we're looking after the wider interests of all growers, including those Māori growers.
It's an exciting time for kiwifruit. It's an exciting time for horticulture. And it's a real opportunity for Māori to play their part, particularly in areas around sustainability and kaitiakitanga. Cool. So that was us 2 days ago over at whanau Orchard in Welcome Bay. So the Māori Kiwifruit Collective has been going for, not quite a year. Not quite a year. So it was established last year after a number of hui called in Tauranga Moana. Yes, made it. All right. Yeah, and it's going really well. Look, this is us in China. I just wanted to show the last couple of photos because the minister always talks about this in terms of the culture being the X factor. This is what makes us different to the rest of the world. And I totally believe that. And we'll see that now coming through primary industries. And you'll see that now in the value that Māori can add to brand New Zealand and to New Zealand Inc. So a number of us have spent some time overseas. And you start to coin the phrase, by Māori, for Māori. The other phrase was around Aotearoa Inc. And what does that mean? By Māori, for New Zealand. And this is the stuff that sort of sets us out apart from the rest of the world. How do we convert culture to commerce? That's another one that I pinched off ngā hiwi. And at the end of the day, it's all about people. So this is me and Henry Rolliston networking overseas. And we'll probably try and do a bit of that tomorrow too. Nā reira, kia ora tātou.